Hello, my name is Stanley Heller. Welcome to the Struggle Video News. Again, we talk about UNRWA. This is all that's left of a UN school in northern Gaza. UNRWA, as you know, is the UN agency helping Palestinian refugees with food and education all over the Middle East. Palestinians who generally live in dire conditions. As you know, Biden and leaders of nearly 20 other countries suspended aid to UNRWA over Israeli charges that 12 UNRWA employees in Gaza participated in the Hamas attack of October 7th. We pointed out last week that 3 major corporate news services said Israel didn't show any evidence about their claims against the 12. Philippe Lazzarini, the Commissioner General of UNRWA, admits he fired people before seeing any evidence, grotesquely calling it due process in reverse. Admittedly, he was in a hard place. Israel was blocking aid for 1 million people, aid that was to go to UNRWA for Palestinians. Well, things have gotten worse. You know that Biden and Congress want to shower Israel with billions more in dollars for weapons. The deal was worked out, negotiated by Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, that would send $10 billion or so to Israel and more to Ukraine and to other places, and some humanitarian aid, quote, to address humanitarian needs in response to the situations in Israel and Ukraine, unquote. And it has a section banning aid to UNRWA. It passed overwhelmingly in the Senate. Senator Bernie Sanders voted no on the entire bill. The bill's future in the House is unclear, but what happened is huge. U.S. government money to UNRWA would be banned by law, not just on the whims of the various U.S. presidents. It would be very hard to reverse. A disaster. 2 more points about the bill that Murphy negotiated. Chris Murphy, who had been a supporter of UNRWA for the sake of the humanitarian aid, threw UNRWA under the bus. Note the wording of the bill again. Quote, to address humanitarian needs in response to the situations in Israel and Ukraine, unquote. Israel? Isn't it that Gaza has been destroyed? The Senate couldn't even say the word Gaza in its legislation. Finally, in the House, another version of the bill is being crafted by a number of Republicans and Democrats. And it strips away all the humanitarian aid. It's not definite, but it could be that UNRWA would be permanently defunded in return for nothing at all. Hind Rajab is a name that we should remember. A Palestinian 6-year-old girl. On January 29th, she was in a car with her aunt's family as they tried to get out of Gaza City and go south. It was shot up by an Israeli tank crew. All the people in the car died immediately except Hind. She spoke to Red Crescent by phone begging for someone to get her. She was terrified. The Red Crescent did send an ambulance with 2 medical workers. They cleared the journey in advance with Israeli authorities. And then they heard nothing for days and days, for 2 weeks. This week, Hind was found dead in that car, and the medical workers were found killed in the ambulance a little bit away. Hind undoubtedly suffered for days all alone before she died. This is Matthew Miller, the State Department's spokesman, when asked about Hind.
I think that question is appropriately directed to the government of Israel. I will say on behalf of the United States, we have made clear to them that we want that incident to be investigated. They have told us they are investigating it. It's our understanding that investigation is not yet complete. Should direct questions to them about where it stands, but we want to see it completed as soon as possible. And as I said from this podium several days ago, if accountability is appropriate, we want to see accountability put in place.
Can you believe the utter nothing that was spewed from his mouth? This spokesman, who I guess is paid $100,000 a year, had nothing to say about what the Netanyahu-Biden war did to Hind and her family. The U.S. has told Israel to have an investigation. Sure, there will be an Israeli investigation, like most Israeli investigations that stretch on for months and years and then are finally dropped. This is Hind and the 2 rescue workers who were murdered by the Israelis. When people heard about the direct threat of an invasion of Rafah, there were protests. We start in western Connecticut in Danbury.
Stop bombing Rafah now!
Stop bombing Rafah now!
Stop bombing Rafah now!
Stop bombing Gaza now!
Stop bombing Rafah now!
Stop bombing Rafah now! Cease fire 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 now! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The occupation has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The occupation has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The occupation has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The occupation has got to go! Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes!
Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crime!
Not another penny! Not another dollar! No more money for Israel's slaughter!
No more money for Israel's slaughter!
Palestine is our demand!
Palestine is our demand!
No peace on stolen land!
No peace on stolen land!
Occupation is a crime!
Occupation is a crime!
From CT to Palestine!
From Sisi to Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
From the river to the sea,
Justice and equality!
justice and equality.
So free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
No justice, no peace! So free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
So we have called Israeli just with 1 day's notice because of the terrible threat, and then last night the terrible atrocities in Rafah. They said they wanted a diversion to rescue hostages. So their diversion was to kill 100 people. A hardened reporter saw what had happened and saw body parts all over the place. He was so horrified by what he was seeing. Men, women, and children. I mean, Rafah at the southern end of Gaza, which had 250,000 people a month ago, let's say, now is 1.5 million crowded together. There was a picture of a street scene, just person after person after person, such a huge crowd. It was terrible. And our politicians in this country are supporting it 100%. We have a picture of our Congresswoman, Johanna Hayes. People have met with her time and time again, tried to convince her, tried to appeal to her, and it's gone nowhere. She supports and votes for all the money to Israel. She never says anything about any of the atrocities.
Yesterday, while millions of Americans were glued to their TV screens watching the Super Bowl, America and Israel used that as an opportunity to bomb Rafah. Rafah is the place where Israel has pushed 1.4 million Palestinian people. 1.4 million Palestinian people who are starving, who are eating grass and drinking water from puddles in order to survive. All the while, America is suspending aid from UNRWA, an organization that is dedicated to protect and provide aid to refugees based on baseless claims that Israel has found that only four of the UNRWA's workforce participated in the October 7th attacks. This is appalling and disgusting. We must do something, and a ceasefire is only the first step towards liberation and freedom for all of us. Our freedom is all interconnected. None of us are free until we are all free. So we must begin with a ceasefire, and then we lift the siege on Gaza, and then we free Palestine. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free!
I was last in Gaza just before the Israelis withdrew, and there's an amazing Gaza Community Mental Health Clinic there that the Israelis have since bombed. It was rebuilt, they bombed again. It treated the people who had been put in jail, all of whom had been tortured. I spoke to some of them. The way they have been treated in Israeli jails, of course, goes on. Our government says nothing. Just two more things. UNRWA, was developed specifically when the Nakba occurred in 1948, when Israel ethnically cleansed the native population of Palestine so that because they were not Jews, they just kicked them out, and they're the people that now mostly live within 100 kilometers of their former homes. But UNRWA was specifically created to protect those refugees with the idea, as according to UN Resolution 194, they would be allowed to return. And when they talk about places that are safe for the civilians in Gaza to go, while Israel is rooting out all the Hamas people, why don't they let them go back to their homes in Palestine? That doesn't come up at all. But in any case, Israel has been really trying to get rid of UNRWA since its formation because it's a constant reminder of their duty not only to provide humanitarian aid but also to protect their refugee status and ability to go home. Finally, we hear our president and that being talking about what's going to come after this war, which hopefully will end today. But when it does, they're talking about how they're going to set up a two-state solution, how they're going to create. Do they ever talk about actually having a free and fair election in Palestine for all Palestinians, including in the diaspora, for them to decide who their leaders will be, not the PA, which is just a quisling for Israel and the United States. So I think all of us would like to see Palestinians have a free and fair election about what they want, whether they want to have two states, whether they want what seems to be the only just and sustainable solution, one democratic state for everyone, Jews, Muslims, Christians. Yeah. Let the Palestinians genocide, not Genocide Joe.
There's not much that we can do but raise our voices. There's no other option but to be here to say something. While our nation is responsible for the murder of thousands and about to be probably millions. Millions of people are in danger now. And so we have to raise our voices, we have to stand, we have to fight, we have to be here to save the people of Palestine. Free Palestine, land back, that's all there is, that's the only answer. So that's why we're here, raising our voices for Palestine. Free Palestine, land back, ceasefire now, let's go.
Later that day, there was a protest in Hartford.
1, 2, 3, 4. Open up the prison door. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how we will liberate. That's how we will liberate. We are the people too. We will be silenced. 3. Stop the violence now, 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 now. 1. We are the people too. We will be silenced. 3. Stop the violence now, 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 now.
I take inspiration from the Jewish organizers, tenant organizers, union leaders, artists of the diaspora who show we make our home where we are, alongside other people struggling for our collective freedom. For us as Jews, our freedom is bound up in the freedom of Palestinians.
That's
and
right.
what could be more Jewish than opposing genocide and supporting Palestinian freedom?
That's right.
For all of us in the U.S., and especially for all of us American Jews, this is the most important moment of our lives. To stop a genocide committed in our names.
On the 15th, the Israelis invaded another hospital, a violation of international law. This time it was Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. They used the usual lies about Hamas in the building, Israeli secret intelligence reports that there could be hostages in a ward, and so on. And then there was this ghastly gem of Israeli army conduct. A Palestinian who had been taken prisoner was forced to return to the hospital with his hands tied, and he was told to warn people there that the hospital would be bombed and they had to all flee. Middle East Eye reports what a Palestinian journalist there told them. The man said the Israeli forces harassed him and treated him badly, and that if he did not do as he was told, they would storm the hospital, wound the people, and kill him. When he finally left the hospital after doing what he was told, the Israeli soldiers shot him. He was shot 3 times in cold blood in the vicinity of the hospital. A week earlier, inside and outside the Capitol building in Hartford, this protest took place.
Ceasefire now! 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 Ceasefire now!
Dr. Cohen, and I'm a member of Jewish Voice for Peace New Haven and a part of the Connecticut Palestine Solidarity Coalition.
Could you explain this demonstration today?
Yes, absolutely. So Governor Lamont was giving his State of the State address on the opening day of session for the Connecticut legislature here in 2024, and we wanted it to be known to our governor, to our state elected officials, that Connecticut cares about Palestine, that we must put a stop to the imminent genocide of people in Gaza. 27,000 people have died, including over 10,000 children. We know that over 70% of the homes in Gaza have been destroyed, and 2 million people are suffering from starvation and other medical problems as a result of the siege on Gaza.
What's the connection to Connecticut and the legislature?
Yes, absolutely. So we have several demands of our legislators specifically. First is that they push for a ceasefire that is unconditional and immediate and permanent, because we cannot continue bombing the homes, hospitals, and schools of people in Gaza. So we're asking that they do everything in their power to call for a ceasefire, whether at the state level or by pushing Biden to do his job. We're also calling for divestment. This includes the $95 million of state dollars that we have in Israeli companies. And
I want to talk one more minute about Gaza. 60 seconds from a Democracy Now! Program about Nasser Hospital.
Yesterday also Israeli snipers and Israeli quadcopters, which is a drone, carry on it an AR and with a sniper. They shot all over the building, and they shot my colleague, Dr. Karam. He has a shrapnel inside his head. I can upload for you a CT for him. You can see, alhamdulillah, it was superficial.
So a quadcopter shot up the hospital room. That made me remember Elbit makes quadcopters. Elbit is the big Israeli military company in which $1 million of Connecticut pension money is invested. On Monday, February 26th, a Zoom panel from Ukraine to Palestine, genocide is a crime. It will be held as people mark the second year of Russia's all-out invasion of Ukraine. People will talk about Ukraine, Syria, and Palestine. Before the protest in Hartford, I noticed some rideshare workers displaying signs and lobbying politicians. I interviewed one of them. So tell us why a number of the people of Connecticut Drivers United are here today and what they hope to accomplish in this legislative session.
We're hoping to get a bill passed that would protect drivers, essentially. Our pay is abominable. It is absolutely the lowest it's ever been. We just showed a photo of a 20-30 minute delivery, and the companies only would pay them $2. That's insane, as well as asking for transparency, and not just for us, but for consumers, because you guys don't realize how much you guys already know the prices are high, and you don't realize how much these companies are taking from that and not giving to us drivers. And that's just more money leaving the state, more money leaving our local economies instead of staying in the community. I always think of it as a triangle cycle, is that consumers, if we won in our legislation of 85% guaranteed going to the driver, and with transparency to hold that accountable, consumers would pay the drivers would guarantee get 85% of that. That 85% would be funded back into our communities.
That's our program for today. Thanks for watching. See you at this time next week. Please go out and protest. My name is Stanley Heller for the Struggle Video News.